Hello, hello, hello. I am VLynn Hawkins, and I am co-founder of Vegan Visibility Productions and co-host of the Veganpreneur Revolution podcast. And I am here with
Kathleen Gage, co-founder of Vegan Visibility Productions and co-host of Veganpreneur Revolution. We're excited that you're here. This is the very first episode, the official episode of the Veganpreneur Revolution podcast show. Today, we're going to talk about why we both went vegan, why we went plant-based, what our vision for our lives are, and what's happening with our podcast and what's happening within the Veganpreneur Revolution. I got to be careful how I say that. Pornpreneur. and when VLynn kind of rolls her eyes, I know that, maybe I'm crossing the line here. We got to be careful. But quite seriously, we have a great time, but we have a very serious topic. Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we do have a very serious mission that we're on. But we like to have fun as we're doing our mission. So with that, VLynn, why don't you talk a little bit about your journey into becoming vegan? Because I know that you didn't always identify as vegan, and now you do. So let's talk about that first.
Absolutely. It's amazing. We all have this journey story. And mine is like many. I was plant-based for a number of years and thought, these vegans, I don't know what's up with them, but the vegans that I've been introduced to, the vegans that I've seen doing things, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be sick and claiming to be vegan. I don't want to, honestly, I was like, I don't want to kiss animals. And I was definitely not one to throw red paint on anybody wearing anything, regardless. And so I had to step back and get re-educated about what veganism is. And so having started my true plant-based journey in 2016, I learned a lot over the first few years. And I learned from the best. And not only did I learn it, but they were very compelling in the stories that they told. I read the books, I watched the videos, the documentaries, and I was convinced that not eating meat was the way for me to go. And then learning about veganism in about 2019, and it was about compassion and ahimsa, and treating sentient beings like they had the right to be here. And for me, it went a little deeper in the learning there because, not too long ago, I had family who were slaves. And I very easily made the connection to animals being born, bred to be used. And that use was to be murdered for food. And I thought, you know what, that's it. I cannot not identify as a vegan. When I knew that and learned how to express that in words with a compassionate heart, I knew that I could make a point and have others to see the light when they were ready. So that's a little bit about my journey, and you'll hear more as we get into the different episodes coming up. But Kathleen, let's hear your story.
Wow. Okay. Well, my story actually started in 2018 when I decided to go plant-based. And like you, I didn't want to be identified as a vegan because I thought vegans were crazy. And now I know we're crazy, but crazy in a different way. And when I first went plant-based, I did it for health reasons. I was 64 at the time, and I was dealing with inflammation. And all the research I did indicated that if I let go of meat and dairy, that my inflammation would probably go away or at least minimize. So I thought, okay, I'll give it 7 days. I'll see if anything happens in 7 days. And the reason I picked 7 days was a lot of what I was reading seemed too good to be true. People were saying, in 48 hours, I noticed a difference. In 5 days, I noticed a difference. And I thought, this can't possibly be as good as everybody's saying. Well, truthfully, within 2 days, I noticed just an incredible difference. I was doing a lot of running at the time, getting terrible cramps in my legs. And within 2 days, I did a run, and it was a long run, and I had no cramps. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of odd. And then I noticed other body indicators. Well, I still didn't want to identify as a vegan. I thought, okay, I'll give it another 7 days. Another 7 turned into a month, turned into 3 months. And interestingly enough was I had given up on diets. I was about 212 pounds at the time, 210, 212, and kind of chunky. Let's just put it that way. And on the charts, I would be considered obese. And my BMI was through the roof. And I was losing weight without trying. And I'm like, okay, that's a nice byproduct of what I'm doing. And I actually dropped about, within a very short period of time, 30 pounds. And it was a healthy weight loss. And I thought, okay, that's nice, but, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And I was at the grocery store one day, walking by the meat department. And by that point, I had watched a lot of the documentaries. I was reading the information, which I thought was propaganda at the time. And it was truly great information. And I'm walking by the meat department, and I literally stopped in my tracks because with everything I had learned, I looked at the meat and I had a visceral response to the pain and suffering the animals had gone through. And I decided in that moment that I would never, ever eat meat or dairy again. And that was kind of where I crossed an invisible line into being a vegan. And I think for me, what the distinction is when I'm plant-based, I can say, okay, I'm plant-based, but that doesn't mean I don't eat meat and dairy. When I'm vegan, it means first and foremost, I do as little harm to animals as possible, and everything kind of falls in place after that. So it started in 2018. Little did I know that life would take a turn with the pandemic and everything, where I had the opportunity to shift what I was doing in my business. And a couple of years ago, VLynn and I reconnected. We had met many, many years ago, and we reconnected because we were hired by a client to do an event. She was doing one piece, I was doing the other piece. One thing led to another, and we realized we had a lot to offer each other in business. And we started Vegan Visibility Productions, which now led into Veganpreneur Revolution. So that's kind of the 30,000-foot view. But now what drives me is first and foremost compassion to animals, health, and then the environment. And, I don't know that it's necessarily in that order, but I do know that
it's a little different order.
Yeah. They're all important.
Relevant importance. That's right. Yeah. And for me, it's for health. It's for my health and the health of my family.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had a health scare too that brought me to recovering so much more quickly and stronger. And, being able to explain to others how I did that was really important for me as well. The animals, I have a pet. I could not imagine, even being so destitute that I would want to think about eating my pet.
Right.
And I think about those who have pets and are eating meat in such a way that, that was me. I was there. And I look at it now and think, why?
Right.
That's my biggest thing. And that's part of what Vegan Visibility Productions is all about. That's part of what the podcast is all about, is exploring the why. Why do people do what we do? And it's really because we don't know better.
Right.
It's because we've been indoctrinated to do things a certain way. Society has a lot of control over how we behave, especially when it comes to food. We're a food species. We connect over food with family. We connect over food with friends. We connect over food with business. And it just comes down to what kind of food is really making us healthy or making us sick. And I love Ann Wigmore's quote about food can be either the simplest form of poison or the richest form of health, or something of that nature. That's not quite the quote, but
Yeah, I saw something actually today about how pharmaceuticals are the way to put a Band-Aid over an illness, and food is the right kind of food is a way to heal ourselves and not need the medicines. And now I'm not saying stop your prescription drugs. Please don't do that. I'm just saying that the more we learn, the more we realize that food is medicine. And who said that? Socrates? Is he the one who said
Hippocrates?
Hippocrates. Okay. What's interesting about coming together over meals, I just heard an interesting statistic on, I think it was a Rich Roll podcast, where 35% of most meals nowadays are consumed in the car. In the car, 35%.
Wow.
And the way that we have structured meals is very different today than the way that it was traditionally set up. I remember growing up, we would have dinner at the dinner table. Every night we had dinner. My dad would come home from work and we had dinner at the dinner table. Sunday was the big dinner with the roast beef and all that. And I look back now and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But the reality is the way that we consume food has changed dramatically. And the whole idea behind the Veganpreneur Revolution podcast show is to bring you great information, not just from us, but from experts within the industry. We're going to have medical professionals. We're going to have, we have the one and only Katrina Fox, who's going to be joining us, who is a PR expert. We have, oh my gosh, Angela Fischetti, who works with elderly people, and she's a vegan. We've got, the whole list just boggles my mind who we're bringing to the table, but we want to bring you information from all different aspects of what it means to live as a vegan. And it starts with, are you really aware of why you do what you do and the foods that you consume, leading into business? And that's what we do with Vegan Visibility Productions. Is our job is to help other entrepreneurs raise their visibility so that they can do more of what they're here to do in the world.
And, you know, you were talking about some of the guests that we have on the podcast, and I keep thinking about the plight of our children. So our podcast talks about business, but we also bring to light the issues, the real issues that people are dealing with. There are more children today who are battling cancer or battling obesity than ever before in our history. And it is because of the foods that they're eating. And one of the things that I know is parents don't want to deliberately cause their children pain and illness. Yet, without the education to understand what's really happening, it's going to continue, and it has continued, and it has gotten worse year after year. There are more people that die from heart disease than any other illness, and a lot of it is brought on by foodborne illnesses. And we tackle those issues on the show. We talk business, and we talk about the business owners, the plant-based vegan business owners who are in the conversation of using lifestyle and food as medicine as solutions to some of the issues, the real issues that we're battling in society. Right. Why aren't there more neighborhood gardens out there? We're looking at bringing people to the show who are interested in getting our audience educated around what else we can do to make the world a better place. But it starts with one household, one community, and that's where we're at.
Well, you know, the whole thing about education and information, we've been lied to for decades and decades and decades, and we've been lied to by large corporations where when you look at the food chain, most grocery stores are owned by one or two major corporations. And a lot of people don't know that. They think you've got Safeway, you've got Albertsons, you've got Kroger's, you've got this, that, and the other, whatever it may be. And if you pull back the curtain, you realize that most are owned by one or two corporations. So that's something that is really important for people to realize, is that the large corporations have lied, big pharma has lied, healthcare has lied, and this is not about conspiracy theory. This is about information that we've discovered, and we talk to experts all the time who share this information to educate people, because most people are walking in a very unconscious state day in and day out. They sit in front of the TV, they're fed certain information. They drive to work in their car, they're listening to the radio, fed certain information. They get to work, they're fed certain information. And it's time to stop, pause, and really look at what the truth is. And it's so interesting. There's the joke going around of, how can you tell if somebody's a vegan? And the answer is, they'll tell you. And I thought, today I went on a run down near the river, and that's one of the things I love doing. And I ran into these two women who were probably about my age, walking their dogs. And we were talking about what a lovely day it was. And one of the women, and now I just got through running, so I'm kind of glowing a little bit. And this one woman said, "Wow, you have such smooth skin. How do you do that?" And I said, "Oh, a good plastic surgeon." I said, "No, I'm just kidding." And I said, "Do you really want to know?" And she said, "Sure." And I said, "I don't consume meat and dairy." And then I thought, as soon as I said that, I thought, oh my God, I've become one of those vegans. But the fact is that there is so much misinformation out there. And the whole idea behind the Veganpreneur Revolution podcast show is, like other vegan shows, like other plant-based shows, like other health shows, we want to bring you the truth. We want to rock your world. We want to shake you up a little bit and say, could that possibly be true? And give you the resources so you can do your research.
We are truly disruptors in the marketplace. And we're not disrupting in the vegan marketplace because we're preaching to the choir there. Mm-hmm. We are disruptors in the places where people are listening to and looking for answers to certain issues that they may not even realize that there are other answers to. I was talking to a woman, and she was telling me how her doctor had her doing X, Y, and Z, this pill and the other pill, and encouraging her to take it with milk. And I thought that is so sad, because it's stories like that I hear that are heartbreaking and that make me want to educate more people, as many as possible. Our goal is to reach millions with our podcast in the next 5 years. And we're looking at you as being someone who can help us. We're asking that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, mm-hmm. like our shows, give us some feedback, comment. Let us know what you learned, what you want to add to the conversation, because this is how we will impact more. And we have so many things that we're bringing to you. I mentioned the plight of our children. One of our guests is actually focused on child nutrition. And I'm just going to throw this out there, because not many people know that there are some states and some local school districts that have actually added plant-based options daily to the school menu so that mm-hmm. kids can get nourishing foods in schools instead of cheese pizzas and cheese and pepperoni pizzas every day. They can have a salad if a salad is what they choose to eat. They can have and I hear a lot of controversy around it, an Impossible Burger or a Beyond Burger. If they want to eat a burger, I would rather see them eat a plant-based burger than an animal burger.
Absolutely.
And so with these things coming to light, our goal is to help our audience to find out more about what is going on in the marketplace, what trends are coming to light. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry that we're moving into. It's actually in the trillions, but the places where we're able to see and make differences kind of backs into the billions. And that's a lot of opportunity there. We are going to help those who are in this space to do more. And that's anybody from your vegan practitioner, acupuncturist, to your vegan chiropractor, health coach, your food for life instructor who is trying to help their community by doing cooking classes. And, Kathleen, that's one of the biggest things that people really are looking for, is these entrepreneurs who are really grassroots and helping people to learn how to start the garden, pull from the garden, take it in the kitchen and cook it up, and or do it raw and have the nourishing food for their families. What else are people doing?
Well, one of the things that I know for me that I early on and still today, coming up on 6 years, I am interested in recipes. I'm interested in tasty, simple recipes. And I found that since going plant-based and vegan, I now love cooking because I feel like I'm putting so much love into that meal. Another thing is I'm starting a garden, and I have to tell you, there's certain things that I would love to learn on what kind of good organic, non-animal based what's the stuff? Fertilizer. That's it. What's that stuff? Come on, read my mind.
Yeah.
Fertilizer. Yeah. What can I use that will help the plants grow? How do I protect my garden so that, because I live out in Oregon and we've got acreage and we've got animals that like to go into gardens, and we've got chickens that are rescue chickens and they think the garden's for them. And it's like, no. That's not for you. But so on the cooking side, in business, I know that a lot of entrepreneurs in the vegan space are struggling to get that visibility. Or here's a big one. They think if they're overt about the fact that they're vegan or they run a vegan business, they're going to lose business. I've got news for you. You will. However, there are people who would prefer to do business with a vegan owner. And so we're going to really address those issues because that is important to people. So let's talk about VLynn. Let's share maybe 6 or 8 different types of themes or topics that we'll be addressing on our podcast show. One is bringing on the chefs and saying, okay, how can a professional prepare very, and by professional, an entrepreneur, how can they prepare very healthy, tasty meals on a budget? A big thing right now is how do you cook on a budget? We have people who are going to address that. So that's one area that we are definitely going to address. And then what we love doing on our podcast is putting our guests on the hot seat, and we get their permission. We say, okay, give us a challenge that you're dealing with, and then we'll go through and give them a marketing strategy. It's really quite fun. So, and that kind of happened on some other stuff that we were doing quite by accident. So what are some of the other themes that we'll be addressing, VLynn?
Mindset. The mindset of an entrepreneur is such that if you don't see yourself in that mega successful space, you'll never reach that mega successful space. But we also know that if your health is in question, your business is going to actually mirror that space that you're in. If you're concerned about your health, your business is going to be in a concerning state. So we're going to address mindset as far as an entrepreneur, vegan or otherwise, that is not working out or walking daily or really, jumping into the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. And, is sleep important? We're going to have some sleep experts come on and really talk about the benefits and what happens when you don't get a sufficient amount of sleep. So we're going to cover the full gamut of what can be expected in some of our interviews. And I'm excited because we've got a bunch of them that we've done already, and we've got some that are lined up. And I always love being in these kinds of conversations because you also get to hear these people's journey stories. And I think that that is some of the most convincing information that you can get from a doctor or a health practitioner or a business owner. I recently met a guy who owns a print shop and he's vegan. And my question is, how do you do that? Are your employees vegan as well? And so you'll find out some of the answers to some of these questions.
Absolutely. Well, and we're also going to be interviewing vegan bodybuilders, because a lot of people, first question is, where do you get your protein? And we're gonna break the myth and really bring you the information that will show you that a lot of what you've been led to believe is true actually is not true. So we're going to bring vegan bodybuilders to the table, men and women. We're going to bring to you nutritionists. We're going to bring to you coaches and consultants, executive coaches who go into companies and they work with the executives. We are going to bring you professional chefs, and it's all really framed around, we want to raise the awareness around the vegan movement. And that's why Veganpreneur Revolution. And here's something I would like to invite people to do is if there's somebody you want to hear from, let us know. Because we are not shy. We'll go out and ask. I'm still trying to get Rich Roll on a few of the shows that we deal with. And it's Rich, if you're listening, you need to come on our show. It's really that simple. So we're not intimidated by people. We actually are so excited about the possibility of connecting with these people who are movers and shakers that we can bring to our community and we can bring to many, 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 many people. So like VLynn said, we're looking to reach millions of people. We're starting from the beginning. We're starting from point zero, and we plan to escalate it very, very, very quickly because we believe in what we're doing. Both of us are going to be hitting a milestone birthday this year, and it's interesting because at the age that we're at, a lot of people, they think of retiring. They go, oh, I just want to relax. I just want to retire. And me, it's like, oh, I can't wait to keep putting the information out there. And in celebration of what we're doing, actually, we're both turning 70, and what we're planning to do, and it's funny because you're kind of holding my feet to the fire on this one, VLynn, is a half marathon for the Thanksgiving holiday, which is so exciting because when I was growing up, when somebody was 60, 70, and not too many people got to 80 at that point, but they weren't healthy. They weren't vibrant. Where today there's a lot of people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. Linda Middlesworth. Oh, she's one of our guests too. 80 years old and she's an aerobics instructor. She's the vegan mentor. We've got people in their 90s who are going to be on the show and they're living a plant-based vegan lifestyle and they're doing it with such vibrancy. So I'm excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of excited about what we're doing. I have to say, I feel so blessed with what we're doing. And I heard something today that I'd like to pass on to people that we often hear everything happens for a reason. And this gentleman who had a severe accident, he was hit by a Bronco truck and he was riding a bike. He was a professional athlete and ended up where it crushed his career. And he was very angry when he first had the accident. He wanted revenge on the person who did it. And he learned about forgiveness from somebody who had been in Auschwitz. And he said the lesson that he learned was not everything happens for a reason. Things happen. You give the reason and the meaning to the experience. So what I encourage people to do is look at your own life. And if you're dealing with illness right now, be open to the information we're bringing you, because it has been documented that you can literally reverse disease. Now, we're not health professionals ourselves, so we're not telling you to do certain things in your life around your prescription drugs, your doctor and all that. We're showcasing people who have made these changes. Tim Kaufman is one that we'll be having on the show. He was over 400 pounds, and it was the day that he couldn't tie his own shoe. His wife was on her knees tying his shoe. He looked at her head, the back of her head, and he thought, I'm going to die and leave her alone. And that was the turning point for him. He now runs marathons, triathlons, the Ironman. The guy is phenomenal. So we're bringing you people like that. Dr. Frank Sabatino, who is a phenomenal man in his 70s. He's been vegan for about 45 years, and just an incredible human being. So those are the types of people that we're going to be bringing you.
And their stories are so compelling. Their hearts are so huge. And for all of us, it's important for us to put this information out there. And we would love for you to be a part of our journey by joining us weekly, especially during the launch, yes, and weekly from that point forward, to help us and refer people. Let us know if you know somebody who would
Absolutely.
be a good person for us to interview. That would be awesome as well. So with that, Kathleen, what are your closing thoughts?
Well, my closing thoughts, I'm going to invite people to visit our website at Vegan Visibility Productions. Okay, easy for me to say. Vegan Visibility Productions. Visit our website. Take a look at what we have on the site. We've got listed our services and our products. We've got a lot of gifts for you that all you need to do is leave your name and email address. We'll keep in touch with you, and we will provide you with great information to grow your business. And you can read about our consulting services. You can read testimonials from people that we've worked with, and most importantly, we encourage you, please listen to the podcast show, watch the podcast show. Let us know what you think about it. Let us know who we can bring to you, and live your life with passion. Live your life in as healthy a way as possible, because the reality is every single day we make a choice. The choice is, how are we going to live our life today? And I know for me, I want to live it with as much vibrancy and passion as I possibly can. And with your help, we can bring you what you need. VLynn, always a delight.
Definitely, Kathleen. And I'd just like to say to everyone, lead with compassion for self and compassion for others, as well as the animals and the planet, because we all need it. We're in a time where we all really need it. So with that said, thanks for joining us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you at every new episode of the Veganpreneur Revolution. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. You've been listening to the Veganpreneur Revolution podcast show with VLynn, Hawkins, and Kathleen Gage. Be sure to leave a review, give a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel. And visit our website at veganvisibilityproductions.com. That's veganvisibilityproductions.com. Have a great day and live healthy.